And with us is still VOP this morning on Voice of the People Television. We'll have to move straight down to the front pages of the national dailies as it is happening now. And before we also have the Vanguard newspaper, we also have the Guardian newspaper, we have the Daily Independent, the Daily Trust newspaper, and the Punch. And I would like to begin this morning from the Daily Independent newspaper. They have the banner headlines to be, hashtag ain't bad governance, go on, Absalami, Jonathan, Buhari decry protest, regime change. And the writers there are, pass vote of confidence in Tinubu at Council of State meeting. NSA reassures that nobody will truncate hard-earned democracy. Wait till 2027 election, FG tells President Tinubu's opponents. And above the nameplate, we have another headline to be, Tinubu signs bill increasing salaries of judicial officers by 300%. Tariff suspension on food imports to cost Nigeria 188 billion naira, and that is according to custom. And we have a major pictorial there where we have the president, and on the left-hand side we have the former president, Jonathan, and we have also Buhari there on that pictorial. And beside that, we have other headlines to be, Afenifere decries call for military coup, seeks support for democracy. You can get it on page 7 of the Daily Independent newspaper. Kyari urges military to sustain onslaught against crude oil theft. Says NNPC Limited witnesses improve growth in crude production. Says NNPC Limited witnessing improved growth in crude production. And by the other side of that picture, I have a headline to be, court extends order restricting Abuja protesters to MKO Stadium. FAN to take delivery of equipment to combat bird strikes at airports. That's on page 7 of the Daily Independent. We have not fixed petrol price. Dangote. We have not fixed petrol price. Dangote. And we have another bold headline on the Daily Independent newspaper this morning. Again, stakeholders urge upward review of tariff for telcos' survival. Again, stakeholders urge upward review of tariff for telcos' survival. Sector to intensive care unit stage, says MTN CEO. Over 1,000 fiber cuts recorded monthly, Airtel CEO. Quality of service tied to government policies, and that is coming from Alton. And have the bottom strip headline to be, Africa CDC declares Mpox public health emergency. Africa CDC declares Mpox public health emergency.
That's monkeypox.
Yeah, monkeypox, but we don't call it monkeypox again. We have to do the Gen Z way of calling it Mpox, and that is what, happened to be the last headline on the Daily Independent this morning.
All right then. Well, those are the pictorial there. Quite an interesting one. Well, I think it's one of the things we're discussing this morning. But seeing the presidents, Jonathan, Buhari, with Tinubu right there, and then one wonders why exactly did Obasanjo not attend that one, and no reason was given. Others that could not attend joined virtually. But Obasanjo, there seem to be issues going on between, they seem to have some sort of disagreement. I think that stems from way back then.
There are no disagreements. Obasanjo went to farm. He's a farmer. So he says he needs to produce enough food for Nigerians to eat. That is more important
than attending
the council meeting.
Yes, because actually the main issue why the council meeting was convened is because Nigerians are hungry. So he wants to help us.
I think that's just an excuse, because
no, that's not what he's saying. That's not what he's saying. That is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So that I don't misinform Nigerians.
Of course.
On the lighter mood.
Of course. Well, interestingly, let's go on to some other headlines now, some other dailies actually. The Guardian, we also have the Vanguard here. Let me start off with the Vanguard, and that pictorial that we talked about is on the Daily Independent, right?
Yeah, it's on
Yeah.
the
It's also the same pictorial right here on the Vanguard newspaper. But let's take the headlines from the Vanguard newspaper. The banner headline reads, Ballooning operating costs. NCC stakeholders kick as telcos threaten service outage. Telcos threaten to adopt load shedding formula in telecom service. NCC kicks, says subtle threat, wrong approach to tariff hike campaign. NCC kicks, says subtle threat, wrong approach to tariff hike campaign. Subscribers will hold regulator accountable if load shedding happens, NatComs. All right. And then looking on top of the nameplate now, Dangote Refinery. Why we reduced our stake to 7.2%, NNPCL. Onayekon to FG. Neglect of youths, ticking time bomb. Anglican bishops flare FG's insensitive handling of hashtag #EndBad Governance protest. Nigeria will use climate change crisis to reshape economy. Tinubu. Interesting one indeed. And then further down, we have a hunger protest, attempted regime change, Council of State. All right. Well, they seem to know something that Nigerians don't know, because they're all singing the same song. That that protest that most Nigerians came out for, citing hunger, had a different agenda behind it, and they all seem to be saying the same thing, that it was intended to be a regime change. 37 die in Oyo Ogun auto crash. Protest, time to tell ourselves truth, Sule tells northern governors. All right, now these are the headlines there from the Vanguard newspaper. Moving away from politics now, talking about the auto crash there. I saw videos of it. I saw a crane was picking that 18-seater bus that was crushed, and it was a horrible sight. It was a horrible sight, a horrible one to behold, with the passengers all cramped up inside that one. Quite terrible. I don't know if I should blame this on the roads, or blame this on bad driving, or blame this on technical issues like brakes and those other things. But I think we can do better when we get on the roads, especially drivers, commercial drivers. Yesterday we saw the news about Lagos State, is a Lagos State government, a Lagos State government agency seizing alcohol beverages from parks worth over $1 million naira. And they've said these things should not be at the parks and garages because they impair reasoning. And when drivers take these things before getting behind the wheels, they of course think they are pilots and they can fly. And that even annoys me when passengers start calling drivers pilots. So you have the impression, you're not flying. You're on roads, not in the air. You're on roads. So
Moses,
you should be
I think it's a
careful.
mixture of all the factors that you reeled out. The drivers, the road network, where they abide in certain instances, and the Federal Road Safety Commission. So most of the times, the officers compromise. The traffic wardens compromise. So because, I don't see why a traffic warden will allow a driver to be taking Baraga.
You wouldn't know. The traffic warden may not know.
No, they do. They do when they go to collect. I'm not blaming them. Probably it's not their court function, but I'm trying to say that all of these factors are involved.
Oh. Also, even the roads that we're using now, we found out that we don't even have what's it called, proper or stiffer penalties for those that break the speed limits and all that. There's no cameras on the road to capture the vehicles or the drivers when they go against the rule of the traffic. But
all right then. Well, let's get into another paper now.
Next is Daily Trust, and we have very interesting stories. The major headline reads, Nigeria wasting rice, yam, fish amid food crisis report.
Wasted.
Wasting. The operational word there is wasting.
What are we wasting it on?
It got me thinking. Probably if you go to page 4 of the Daily Trust, you find out why Nigerians are wasting yam, rice, and fish amid the food crisis. Again, there's a pictorial there. It's the pictorial of the photo ops of the Federal National Council of States meeting that held yesterday. You see the president, the vice president, and the NSA is here, and all of that is on the front page. Below the major headline, you have 28 killed in Oyo, Ogu road crashes. That's on page 5 of the Daily Trust. Each senator earns 1.063 million monthly. Ramfak.
Yes.
Tinubu approves 300% pay rise for judicial officers. Under the photo ops, you have wait till 2027 if you are not satisfied with government. Council of State. Very interesting.
Very interesting headlines indeed. So we'll talk more about this during the newspaper review much later in the day. We'll talk a whole lot more about this, and that's from 9 o'clock all the way till 10. We'll talk more about these headlines that you see here.
Yes, under the nameplate, there are still other news items there.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Daily Trust. Under the nameplate, you have local government polls. Opposition kicks as state electoral bodies impose new fees. 70% windfall tax burdensome, ill-time, bank directors. NNPCL, FIRS, orders frustrating National Assembly, Tinubu's government, according to Senate panel.
It's like finally we
Very
have the
interesting.
amounts and our senators and being made public.
According to Ramfak.
According to Ramfak, we have to get an authentication from the Senate. That's if they agree that is how much they earn. Because we always have figures pushed out, and the Senate comes back to say, no, this is not our salary. Our salary is not up to this.
Is that also, I wonder if that also includes the other allowances that they get, the sitting allowance, the travel allowance, and all that. Anyway, we'll move to another newspaper this morning, which is the Punch newspaper. And we have the banner headline there to be FG blocks 83 billion naira protest funds, arrests political collaborators. The writers there, government uncovers $50 million crypto funds, blocks 4 digital wallets containing $38 million. Police to declare foreign agents wanted, trees 4 billion naira to Kanu, Abuja, Katsina, political bigwigs. And right beside the nameplate, we have another headline to be FG unveils plan to bring back 12,400 JAPA doctors. FG unveils plans to bring back 12,400 JAPA doctors. And that is on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. 109 senators earn 1.4 billion naira annually. 109 senators earn 1.4 billion naira annually. And we have the window headlines to be EFCC donates 50 billion naira crimes proceeds to NEL Fund. EFCC donates 50 billion naira crime proceeds to NEL Fund. That's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. NPCL postpones Port Harcourt refinery kickoff 6th time. NNPCL postpones Port Harcourt refinery kickoff 6th time. 4.2 trillion naira foreign MOUs signed under Tinubu, and that is according to report. And we have a major pictorial there that have the vice president, we have the former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, Tinubu the president, and Buhari, okay, and have also the president of the Senate. And beneath that, TUC backs 5 million naira monthly pay for judges. 16 confirmed dead in Oyo multiple crashes. NJC to select Ariwura's successor on Friday. And these are the headlines to have on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning.
All right, then let's quickly touch on the Guardian newspaper before we wrap the segment up. From the Guardian newspaper, the banner headline, 2 years after, states under-enroll as 90% Nigerians still pay out of pocket. The top right there is National Health Insurance Act. That's what that one is talking about. And then there's a breakdown of that. Cost of healthcare up by over 200% in the last 1 year, with most Nigerians unable to pay out of pocket. And then beside that one, reps upbraid WAEC for failing to account for 5 billion naira calculators. Benue farmers panic over persistent drought. And 16 die, 17 injured in about a multiple road crash. Chairman affirms 26 embattled Rivers lawmakers as APC members. All right. So we'll still keep our eyes on that one. It's interesting what is playing out in Rivers State.
Yeah.
Okojumbo has his own assembly, and Martin Zamewule has his own assembly. One wonders, in one state.
Under one governor.
Under one governor. Nigeria, I hail thee. Indeed. All right, customs, Nigerians. That reminds me of the national anthem.
Yeah.
Nigeria, we hail thee. Okay. Well, customs, Nigeria's food imports surged 95.28% to 920.54 billion naira in Q1 2024. Manufacturing, FMCG firms post 25% YTD losses as demand plummets. EFCC stakes 50 billion naira in Nel Fund, warns against abuse of fund. OBJ, IBB absent as Buhari, Jonathan, ex-leaders pass vote of confidence in Tinubu. All right, so these are the headlines from the papers that we have on our table this morning. We read out headlines from The Guardian, The Daily Independent, The Daily Trust, The Punch newspaper, and also the Vanguard newspaper. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll be looking at our major conversation for today. Oba Akiolu of Lagos must apologize to Igbos and Nigerians for bigotry statement. Pro-Democracy Coalition insists. Now, do know that you can be part of the conversation by subscribing to our YouTube page. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV. And on other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. There's also a number that will appear on your screen in the course of the program. You can save that one up. With it, you can communicate with us every time we come on the air. All right, stay with us. We'll be back in a bit.